If you've been thinking about buying a new iPhone, stop right there in your tracks. Do not do it, because we're going to be getting the new iPhone 14 lineup in less than 1 month. Yes, it was just confirmed by Mark Gurman, the most reliable Apple leaker, that Apple's September event is happening on September 7th, which is a Wednesday. And yes, they always release their new iPhones on that day. And even better, he says that we're actually going to have the iPhone 14 models in our hands on September 16th. Yes, less than a month from today. And I recommend waiting, because those new iPhone 14s, especially the 14 Pro models, are going to be absolutely insane. There's going to be some crazy revolutions, like in the camera department, as well as others, with some new features that we've never had on the iPhone that Android has had for many years. And not only that, but this year there are going to be even more features that are going to be exclusive to the iPhone 14 Pro, and there's one that I really want to focus on. It's something that's going to fix an issue that has been plaguing the iPhones for years, especially since the iPhone 12 and even this 13 model. So before I get into explaining that, I've got to go through some of the context. First of all, the iPhone 14 Pro is gonna get the A16 chip compared to the standard iPhone 14 models retaining the A15. So yes, it's gonna have even more performance than it already has. Now, we did get a report this morning saying that TSMC is starting their 3nm chip production for the M2 Pro, and then the future A17 for the iPhone 15 next year. But what that means is that the current iPhone 14 Pro that we're about to get in less than a month is going to be sticking to the A16, which unfortunately, according to Shrimp Apple Pro, a leaker on Twitter, he says that the A16 Bionic is going to continue to use the same 5nm from TSMC's N5P. Yes, that's exactly what we already have on the A15 Bionic. And it is going to be offering slightly better CPU performance, faster RAM, and a better GPU. But there is a very big problem with this. The iPhone 13 Pro with the A15 chip, especially with the 5-core GPU model, it suffers from thermal throttling that is lowering the performance. As you can see right here in Geekbench performance charts, you have the Apple A15 Bionic right here in the iPhone 13 and the iPhone 13 mini, and they score around 11,200 points, which is crazy, crazy fast. That's in terms of metal graphics. But take a look at this. The Apple A14 Bionic, yes, that's the last generation chip, is actually faster, and that's with the same 4-core GPU, 12,425. Yes, the previous Gen A14 faster than the new A15 and the iPhone 13, and the reason for that is thermal throttling due to the lack of a decent cooling solution. Yes, these iPhones use passive cooling just like the iPad, except the iPad is larger, so it's able to dissipate the heat across the larger tablet compared to the smaller iPhone, which heats up faster. And because of that, Apple literally caps the performance of that chip down lower, quite a bit lower than the A14. Now, if you look at the A15 Bionic chip in the iPhone 13 Pro, those do score higher because they have a 5-core GPU. However, it's not much faster than the 4-core version. And then if you split that up into performance per core, the A14 in the iPad Air is getting more performance per core, and that's of course because the iPhone just can't handle the heat. The cooling solution sucks. Well, thankfully, Apple is working on a solution to this problem, and it's why I think these new iPhone 14 Pro models are going to be incredibly good in terms of everyday reliability and performance as well. Yes, Apple has been aggressively testing vapor chamber cooling solutions for the 2022 iPhones. Yes, that's finally this year, and that is going to allow them to really unlock the performance of the A16 chip. Now, if you don't know how that works, there are some other phones that actually already have vapor chamber cooling. And as you can see right here, this is a copper vapor chamber cooler. And what happens is at the source of the heat, whereas where the chip is, it heats up and hot air moves around sort of in this loop where it goes to a different location and it comes back around a little bit colder than it was before, and it just cycles around like this, allowing the chip to stay cooler, sort of like a radiator in an engine. So if this year Apple engineers a well-designed vapor chamber cooler for the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max models, that literally by itself could lead to a huge performance boost compared to what we have right now with the iPhone 13 models, because we have just so much performance that is locked behind the overheating. So literally with the same A15 chip that we already have, we could get a big performance boost. And because of that, it kind of makes sense for why Apple is sticking to the N5P 5nm process node on the A16 chip, because if they improve the cooling, that's going to do a lot of the performance work for them by unlocking the extra performance, which means they won't have to do that much tweaking to the A16 chip at all. They just have to tweak it a little bit and it'll look like it's a new awesome super fast chip, but really it was the cooling that did most of the work. So Apple has a huge advantage and opportunity this year by adding a vapor chamber cooler. Now, on top of that, we are gonna be getting a new 5G chip that's gonna be cooler. It's gonna be the Snapdragon 865, which is using the 6nm process, which is more efficient than the X60 that they're using right now. And that's gonna lead to less heat and of course, better battery life as well. So we'll have less display dimming issues, because the display dimming issue was huge with the iPhone 12. It got better with the iPhone 13, but it's still around and it's still very annoying. So that vapor chamber cooling along with the new 5G chip, that could mean that we'll finally get rid of the display dimming issues on the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max. Now, not only that, but we are expecting even more awesome exclusive features with the 14 Pro and Pro Max model. First of all, we're getting taller displays, and as you can see, we're finally getting rid of the notch. You have the Pro Max right here and the Pro. They have this new pill-shaped and single hole punch cutouts that look a lot better than the old notch version. Not only that, but we get a really slim and sleek speaker grille, and the bezels themselves look thinner. Not only that, but the Pro models are getting the new 48 megapixel camera system, which I think is going to record 8K video at 60 FPS. That's going to be exclusive to the 14 Pro models. Not only that, but we're also getting the always on display feature on the Pro models, because they're going to have new display panels that can go down to 1 Hz refresh rate, finally giving us a feature that's been around on Android for many, many years, and the regular iPhone 14 is not getting that. And even better, we might even get 256 gigs of base storage with the 14 Pro alongside the rumored price increase, which might be around $100 more expensive than it is right now for the 13 Pro and the Pro Max model. So with that said, Apple has some huge opportunities this year to make the iPhone 14 Pro a lot better with the vapor chamber cooler and all of those other features. And because of that, I strongly believe that you should not be buying any iPhone model right now. You should be waiting until Apple's September 7th event, because I think you'll be blown away by the new features we're getting in the iPhone 14 lineup. Now, if you totally disagree with my thoughts, let me know down in the comment section below. But if you like this video, click the circle button to subscribe and check out one of those two right over there. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.